We're getting this sausage out of the freezer and making it shelf stable. Welcome back to Bucket List Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Lynn. Welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. And I just want to take a quick second and thank you all for your wonderful comments on my last video. It means the world to me. I love to can. I love canning. Canning, learning how to can changed our lives. And I don't say that to be dramatic or over the top. I'm serious because it helps you save money. I'm able to feed my family healthier because of canning. And did I mention it helps you save money? Canning really is cheaper. Even if you're not growing a garden or raising your own animals. We only raise chickens for eggs and meat. And we didn't even do chickens this past year. But I am able to source good quality beef from our local neighbors who are farmers. Pork, again, from one of my ladies in Women in Homesteading group who raised pork and sold portions of it this year. So I'm able to get quality meat that way. Or if you see great deals at the grocery store, you're able to buy those deals, get them canned up, put on your shelf. They're shelf stable. You're not taking up room in your freezer. So you're not having to plug in your freezer and run it, which I am hoping to scale down our freezers because we do have 4 and I'm hoping we can maybe get down to 2. Like that is my goal for this year is to get us down to 2 freezers. So that will be 2 freezers that we have unplugged. So canning is just, when I say it's life-changing, I'm not kidding. And pressure canning in particular is definitely life-changing. I wish I had learned sooner. I let my fear stop me from learning to pressure can for way too long. I've been doing it now for 4 years. I love it. It was definitely a learning curve, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but once you start and get over that initial fear, you are going to love it. I am telling you, having ready full meals in jars on your shelf, you'll never want to go back again once you learn how to do that. And I share canning videos with all of you because I do love it, but I want you all to can. And my theme of my channel has always been, if I can do these things, you can do these things. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's failed. I've had canning mishaps. Oh, I've had canning mishaps. Water bath and pressure canning. But as David, my husband's always saying, we don't always learn from success. Sometimes we learn more from our failures than our successes, which is very true. So that is why I share canning videos, because I do truly want all of you to try canning too. And please don't be intimidated or scared to start. It's my biggest regret that I waited so long to learn pressure canning. Today we are going to be taking these a little over 4 pounds of sausage that was in my freezer. We are going to get that canned up and make it shelf stable. Now, the directions for doing ground sausage, ground pork, because that's what it is, it's just seasoned, is the same as if you were doing ground beef or ground pork, it is ground pork. It was in sausage form, but I took all the casings off. I took it out of the freezer. It was completely thawed, took all the casings off and just turned it back into ground pork. And like I said, it gets quite a few packages out of my freezer. I'm also going to be using an electric pressure canner. Now, this is definitely a bit of a controversial subject, electric pressure canners. If you're new here, I actually call myself the research queen because before I buy anything, anything, I do a lot of research, look into it before I purchase. Especially big ticket things, they cost a lot of money. You want to make sure you're getting the best you can. Or something that's new to me, I like to research. I've been using mine now for a little over 3 years and I love it. I have several friends who use it. They love it. I feel comfortable using it. If you are not comfortable using it, the same directions that I'm actually using traditional pressure canning recipe from Ball. Now, like I said, It's the same. It's exactly the same if you're using a traditional pressure canner. I have a traditional pressure canner. I used that for a year. I have a problem. I have a flat top stove. It is not impossible to pressure can on, but it is very difficult. I find it very difficult to pressure can on. I do save my traditional pressure canner, my Presto with the little jiggler. I usually do that outside on our Camp Chef stove that's propane. I can do it on there with the flame and have a lot more success than doing it in here. It is currently 2 degrees Fahrenheit outside here in our part of Canada. I am not pressure canning outside today. I will save that for spring and summer and fall. But so we're going to use the electric pressure canner. I will link the one I'm using down below. It is made by Nesco. Like I said, I love it. And it's okay if you don't. You can absolutely still make this with your traditional pressure canner. Now, we have got to get cooking all this sausage. In my big pot here, I have water that I boiled, and I've just brought it down to a simmer. We are going to need this to fill our jars later. Okay, let's get frying up this ground sausage. So I put my electric pressure canner. You can also use this as a water bath canner. I don't. I still use my traditional water bath canner, but I did turn it on here just so I could get my jars nice and warm, and I'm having them stay warm while we cook up the sausage, because you want warm jars when putting hot food into the jars. You want your jars to be at least the same temperature as what you're putting in them. Our sausage is all ground. I did put a lid on it to keep it nice and hot in between batches. It took me 3 batches to cook that all up. Over here I have all my jars ready, so I have checked them all for nicks and cracks or anything. I just took them out of the hot canner, so they're hot. I also have a cloth here with some vinegar, because where this is greasy, you're going to need something a little bit more than just water typically to wipe your rims off of your jars before you put your lids on. I will be using my 4-jar lids again today, and if you want 10% off anything on 4Jar's website, make sure you use my code BucketListHomestead to receive 10% off. Okay, and I also washed my lids, so remember, we don't need to boil these anymore, but they are washed. And it typically takes about a pound of ground pork per half a liter, roughly, of per jar. So I have 4 jars all hot. I have 2 more just in case. I think we're going to be okay with these 4, but I'm not sure. We might end up using 6. And I am using quart, but I'm also using 1.5 pint jars. I can't hold one up. Let me see. Hold on, because they're hot. I like this size of jar. It's 750 milliliters, so it is 1.5 pints. This jar is proving to be the perfect size for us here and our family, so I do like that. I thought I had more, but I don't. They're all being used with other things right now, so I did get a couple of quart jars. They'll go processing time the exact same time as the quarts. Okay, enough chatting, and we are going to fill up our jars, and we're going to pack it loosely. You don't want to like jam it in there, and we need 1-inch head space. And make sure you're going to leave some space for the boiling hot water we are going to top our jars with. The exact amount of jars I needed. That is great. And we are just going to add our boiling water. You could add boiling broth or tomato juice, whatever, you know, as long as it's boiling, you could add that. I just prefer water. I don't want any other flavor. And honestly, this will make its own broth just from the canning process. So we are going to debubble. And then if we need to adjust with a little bit more water, we can. We need a little more water in this one. Debubble one more time. And I did strain off a lot of the grease too. I forgot to mention that. I did strain off a lot of the grease. You're not going to get all of it. It's okay, but it's a good idea to try and get as much as you can. All right, and then we're going to take our vinegar that's on my clean towel here and wipe the rims. So in my canner here, I have 8 cups of hot water. And this fits these 4 jars perfectly, which is another reason I love my electric canner. It does the amount that I do need for our family size. I do have a second one on days where I'm feeling very ambitious and like to do a big batch canning. Okay, so we've closed the lid. Right here, this is the valve, okay? And this canner does come with 2 valves. It comes with this one for my elevation, and it also comes with a green one for higher elevation than I am. So I don't need them, but it does come with them. When we're starting, we want to make sure that this is set to exhaust, which it means this little leg here is pointing that way, okay? We're gonna lock our lid, which I already did, okay? We'll get our lids and rings on, and I'll meet you at the canner. So in my canner here, I have 8 cups of hot water. And this fits these 4 jars perfectly, which is another reason I love my electric canner. It does the amount that I do need for our family size. I do have a second one on days where I'm feeling very ambitious and like to do a big batch canning. Okay, so we've closed the lid. Right here, this is the valve, okay? And this canner does come with 2 valves. It comes with this one for my elevation, and it also comes with a green one for higher elevation than I am. So I don't need them, but it does come with them. When we're starting, we want to make sure that this is set to exhaust, which it means this little leg here is pointing that way, okay? We're gonna lock our lid, which I already did, okay? Now, we need to do 90 minutes of pressure canning, so we're gonna hit high, 90 minutes. Start. And this will come up to pressure, and then this will release a steady stream of steam for 10 minutes, just like in your traditional pressure canner. Once that is done, this will beep again at me, telling me that it's done its 10 minutes of steam. And we need to turn the valve to airtight. Okay, so that has been 90 minutes, and I will let this sit because just like regular pressure canner, I can't open it. It needs to depressurize on its own. So it finally released its pressure, so we are just going to prop the lid open, and I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes before I take the jars out. So glad to have 4 jars of shelf-stable meat on my shelf to add to the growing amount that I've been canning already. I will let these jars sit for a minimum of 12 hours, probably 24 or more for me, and then give them a good wipe down. Just make sure there's no residue from the sausage or the oils. And I will mark these because they do look very much like the ground beef I already have on my shelf, and I don't want to grab them thinking it's one or the other. I really love this maple pork that we got from the butcher that we had made when we ordered our quarter of a pig a few months ago. So until then, take care, God bless, keep canning, and we'll see you all soon.